Hello. What's going on, my friends? Later than normal. I hate that, but this device right here hates me. This iPad, you know, it's so simple. I don't understand how it can suddenly just stop performing the way it's supposed to. You push a damn thing, and then it's supposed to work. And there's no moving parts. How could it possibly? Damn it. It's like it's created to slow down on you and be stupid. Son of a bitch. Jesus. It is the 20th of April, 2021. The show comes to you from the Baldwin Ace Hardware Fear Bunker Studio. The Eric Zane Show podcast begins now. It's Blue State Rob. Blue State Rob.
Hey, this is Blue State Rob, and you're listening to the Eric Zane Show podcast, a show hosted by a liberal Republican whose ancestry dates back to the small country of Armenia and fueled by bouts of anxiety and adult attention hyperactivity disorder, also known as ADHD. It's not the best, but still better than radio. Anyway, here's your host, Eric Zane.
Well, thank you very much, Blue State Rob. What's up, buddy? Blue State Rob sent some material along today that I'm really looking forward to sharing with you. It comes to us from like a fundraising video event online. Like if you ever saw those old things you'd see like on TV where they have like a phone-a-thon, where people are like talking, hey, yeah, we need money, and they're like begging for money, maybe like public broadcasting or the muscular dystrophy deal with Jerry Lewis, and then Charo comes on there, maybe some guy on a unicycle or a dog that does tricks, and the unknown comic appears, and maybe, I don't know, some stupid Rich Little, shit like that. Mike Lindell, this is the guy who created that whole My Pillow thing. His story is really quite remarkable, Mike Lindell. That guy was bad he was all sorts of substance abuse issues, and terrible things were happening in his life. And then he turned it around and created this company. And then during this last election cycle, he kind of was really in the spotlight because he was big on that whole voter fraud thing and all that shit. And I can never take him seriously because he looks too much like that old school WWE manager, Paul Bearer. Remember him? He was that gimmick manager for The Undertaker who would come out. He's holding like a fucking urn while The Undertaker comes out and puts him in a tombstone. Whammo. That's the end of the match. So Lindell is he's one of these people that have been kind of neutered on social media since all the things that went down with the election, and he's getting sued for a ton of money by what's the name of the Dominion Voting Systems or whatever it is, the company that was kind of like in charge of all the voting software, and then they got thrown under the bus. And I go, hold on a second here, our it's not our fault. And so they've been like suing people, and they're suing this guy for like everything that he's worth. And so he can't talk on social media because he's been muted. So he's decided to create a new social media app called Frank. I have no idea. This is the extent of my knowledge of this. But what you got to love here is the ingenuity of the people who are pulling these pranks, because Lindell is like on this fundraiser taking live phone calls. And you know how on this shit show, when I want to take a phone call, I'll take the phone and hold it up to the microphone. He's doing that, except mine actually sounds a million times better with my setup here than compared to what he's doing. And a bunch of idiots got his phone number somehow, and they're pranking him. And oh my God, it's like my new favorite thing. It's really, really funny. I don't give a shit what side you're on. This is funny. Okay. Everybody's kind of on edge right now. I actually lost sleep last night thinking about this, what will happen on this Chauvin trial. And right now, this jury is like sequestered, and they're deliberating. And they said that who knows how long it's going to take to get this thing sorted out. But it could be today. I don't know. I definitely want to talk about this as that deliberation goes on, and what kept me awake was the idea of what could happen. I know that's like woulda, coulda, shoulda, but what could happen based on the verdict. So, I mean, if you take into account what happened when the video went viral when Chauvin was seen with his knee on George Floyd, if you take into account all the shit that went down, then it's safe to say that I would be very, very concerned, no matter what the verdict is. If the verdict is 100%, like he's convicted of murder, I'm concerned. I'm concerned what happens then. I'm concerned. I should start with if he only gets manslaughter, or if he's completely acquitted. Holy shit, this is going to be a shit show. And if he's convicted, same thing. I'm worried about that too. So a bit worried. So I want to talk about that. There's a lot of shit I want to get into today. There's a lot of big news that has developed that is just got kind of like the world on its ear right now, And as you know, I never ever shy away from any of this shit. I love talking about it with you. I throw it out there. Once it leaves my mouth, you guys kick it around a little bit. I'll try my best not to get kicked off of Facebook today. That was a little bit embarrassing. But, I had no idea that the Pete Davidson clips were going to get me kicked off of Facebook, honestly. But, all right, live and learn. Still fun. So, nevertheless, I'm just glad to be here. Glad you're all here. Thank you again for being part of it. It is a daily show, as I've indicated many times before, where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures, and chock full of that, as always. Facebook, thank you so much. If you could share it, like it, all that stuff, thank you. Facebook's brought to you by Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid. Twitter, retweet it with a snarky comment. Twitter's brought to you by Twitter, a Periscope video brought to you by Blue Frost IT. Thank you. And then I'm on YouTube. Search Eric Zane Show on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. And then hit the bell notification and like it. Okay, thank you so much. By the way, please, thank you again for following me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all these things. Even TikTok. I'm on TikTok. I don't even do anything with it. It's just kind of there. I'm on TikTok. I think I'm on Snapchat, but I haven't done shit with. I don't have the time to do anything with these platforms. It takes all of my strength and energy to sit here and yammer away on this show. So, okay. That's what's up. And, of course, the show, you can download it wherever you download podcasts, Eric Zane Show. Just search it out on any of your podcasting platforms, and you can download it. When I first started the podcast, the company that originates my stream or my all my content is called Audio Boom. It's an overseas company, but I became familiar with them back on the radio, so I just went with them. Stand by. And it's been cool. I've liked it. It did get weird for me just the other day because they said, "Hey, we noticed you're putting copywritten music on there at the end of your shows. You got to knock that off. You got to edit that out." Oh shit! So I did that. No problem. But they've been very, very good to me. And at the end, like on the back half or on my side of what I see, you can make your show available to all these different platforms. So I do. And if something new becomes available, like on Amazon or whatever, I apply. You actually have to apply, and then they approve you. So the show's available on all these things. And honestly, I can't imagine. It's crazy to me how many different platforms there are for people to listen to podcasts. But what I did do intentionally is I didn't want the show to be distributed on a podcasting platform like iHeart or Radio One, which is CBS. And so I just didn't think it was something I wanted to do. And not that it's that big of a deal, but I just didn't want to be, I didn't want any radio entity, curating my material. Well, so I did not apply for iHeart, which is part of that whole. It's the digital platform, iHeart Digital or whatever, associated with the radio station. So I just didn't want any part of it. But they took it anyway. I just found out that the show is available on iHeart, and I'm like, how does that happen? I mean, they just take it. They just fuck. I mean, if I rip off Pete Davidson on the pay-per-view, that's one thing to play it for you, but they're taking the whole show and posting it. And I'm like, how? I didn't request it. I didn't ask you to do it. I know you didn't ask me if you could take it. So now I'm like, fuck, I don't even know how to ask them to not do it. I have no idea. They just take this shit. Oh, well. I guess there are bigger problems to have. So, all right. So yeah, download the show on the audio podcast if you could. If you're on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, rate, and review. I would love to see a review of the show. I always get a kick out of seeing them. Occasionally, I'll get somebody that posts a nasty one, and I'm getting better at not getting too affected by those things, but I'm such a pussy that when I see something negative, it does have impact. I'm not going to lie to you and say, yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. This shit bothers me. If I see something negative, I you know how when people say, I talked about this with Carl, when people say, I don't care what anybody thinks about me, I care. I 1,000,000% care. If you really want to screw me and make me feel like an asshole, write a horrible thing and I will fucking dwell on it for a month. I could see 10 positive things on there, and then if I see one good thing, I'm like, fuck, oh my God, it's the worst day of my life. Holy shit. April 10th. Movie Savant. Eric always knows the movies he's discussing, but never the title. I think I read this one. So you'll be screaming into the phone the title all the while. He'll name every name but the movie name. It's comedy, real life, and some great stories along the way. Highly recommend. Actually, no, I don't think I did read that one. All right. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. So if you could throw 5 stars and a review, that would be fun. Okay. Last night, this is just so stupid. First of all, I dreamt all night about helicopters. I slept very well. And I don't want to be the guy who's sitting there and say, yeah, hey, I slept well, and here's what I dreamt about. But this is ridiculous. And I figured it all out. I figured out a puzzle while I slept. And man, I'm telling you, man, my brain it just goes 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I, of course, have forgotten what I was dreaming about. And that doesn't matter. But the one thing I do remember in the dream is that no matter what I dreamt about, there was always a helicopter in the dream. So it could have been me and my family out to get an ice cream, and there's a helicopter in the parking lot. I could have been taking O'Neill to the vet, and there's a helicopter in the fucking vet. Everywhere I turn, there's helicopters. And I'm like, what is going on? And I remember at one point, because I think the sleep cycle goes, I forget the time period, but your brain puts you deep, deep in REM sleep, which, by the way, is the time that that's when you get real rest and your brain repairs and your everything kind of recovers from the day and loads you up, recharges you for the next day, which is why for you poor sons of bitches who have sleep apnea, because you stop breathing and your body wakes you up, you're not getting REM sleep. So it's a horrible sequence and a horrible cycle. That's why during the day at like 11 a.m., you're like falling asleep because your body is like, okay, man, you're going to need to rest at some point. It's horrible. I feel so bad for people with sleep apnea. So, all right, tangent there. Sorry. I'm dreaming all the time. I don't know what the fuck why all these helicopters are showing up, man. And I can hear them in the dream, and they're just like, every time I turn around in my dream state, there's a helicopter. So at about 5 a.m., I have to tinkle. And so I'm really waking up, and I'm like laying there, and I'm fully awake, and I'm debating whether or not I can hang on for another hour and 20 minutes before, if I just don't want to get out of bed, because it sucks having to do that. So I'm like, fuck, I got to pee. And while I'm laying there, I noticed that while wide awake, I can hear a helicopter. And then I'm like, what the fuck? I was just dreaming about helicopters all night. It's right then that it occurred to me that all these dreams that I was having involved a helicopter. I'm like, the fuck is going on here? I can hear that chopper right now. The fuck? Huh? And then it dawned on me. Right next to the bed is a box fan. And the fan is touching the frame of the bed, and the vibration of the fan is producing is running, like moving the bed or vibrating it to a way where it's like this. I'm like, holy fuck, that was the chopper I heard all night long. Everything I did, it was the fucking chopper, and it's because of that damn fan. I was like, son of a bitch. It influenced me. That is crazy. It's so weird the way the brain works. So what you have there is me going into REM sleep, and then the real world is interjecting into the dream world. And that, then it occurs to me. So then I move the fan. I was like, shit, well, that's what happened. So it makes you wonder if you ran some type of experiment, like some Doctor Strange shit from the Marvel movies, if you can somehow combine the subconscious and the conscious. And I did my own sleep study experiment is what that was, inadvertently, because of the stupid fan. Holy shit. God, it was so dumb. So I figured it out. Good to go. On with the day. And right then, though I'm just coming out of a slumber, I'm like, I can't wait to tell these people about this shit. This is so dumb. Everything that I'm involved in has some degree of there's always something stupid. I was at a meeting last night. Let me just say this. I found a new meeting to go to where, man, what a group. I've always had a good time at meetings recently. But this new group was just the shit. Just some wonderful, wonderful fellowship. I tell you what. While in the meeting, though, I get a text message, and it's from the Queen of the Forest, and it's a picture that she sent me, and you're probably not gonna. It wouldn't translate. All it is her holding her phone outside of the back door, aiming it at the ground, and you see probably 20 to 25 black little baggies. Okay. Now, each one of those baggies has dog feces in it. Quite literally, you have 25 sacks of shit right there outside of my back door. Along with that is the line, why can't these make it the few extra feet to the garbage can? Oh my gosh, shit. Felt like an idiot. This is how it goes for me. I take these dogs for a walk. I'm going to do it when I get done with this podcast. They do their business. I clean it up so that it isn't a catastrophe around the neighborhood. I always make a big deal about that. I like it when people see me doing that, because that furthers the whole thing in the neighborhood, that though I'm walking with 4 dogs, I am diligent about cleaning it up. Always. Hell, if Bruce here has if it's number 2, but there's not a bit of it that is solid, which does happen from time to time, I still clean it up. Imagine that. How do you manage to do that? I have to almost like pull up all the grass in order to do the job. So I make a big deal about it. So that people see me. If people see me cleaning it up, there is no way that anybody could ever get the idea that I don't clean up after my dogs. Especially after that one guy tried to pick a fight with me who lives on the next street, and oh man, nobody likes this guy. You clean up after your dogs? He yells at Diana. Him and I got into it right there. It was real ugly. So all right, so then I bring the sacks of shit, and they have to go somewhere. And when I have these 4 dogs, I'm kind of being pulled in 4 directions by the time I walk back into the house. So then I just open up the back door and I just plop it out there and they just pile up. And then I'm such an idiot. So she was frustrated with me. I'm like, oh, God, seriously, I don't want to lose Pooh Bear points. We can't have that. All right. Yesterday on the show, I revealed to you the clip of crippled Jesus, who you may have noticed his voice is shaky. And if you've ever seen the show Breaking Bad, he sounds like Walt from Walt Jr., okay, because Bryan Cranston plays Walt. His son, the kid who has cerebral palsy, who walks on the crutches, I forget his real name. He has a kind of like a shaky voice. Well, that's what crippled Jesus has. He's got that style of voice. He sounds a lot like Walt Jr. It's because crippled Jesus has cerebral palsy, and he's a podcaster. And so I put him on the show yesterday with him ripping me a new one about how he thought I sucked. But that's kind of the way he handles it. And he is an absolute smartass, degenerate gambler, piece of shit is what he is. And but I love him. So I reached out to him and I go, hey, buddy, I love what you said on Carl's show on that voicemail. You got to be on mine. Crippled Jesus is going under the knife. I'm not exactly sure what is up with the surgery, but he's going to be on the podcast as his recovery works its way through, possibly next week or the week after as he recovers. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with him, but he's bummed out because he's not going to be able to gamble because he is a degenerate gambler and go to his titty bars that he loves to go to. But good luck, buddy. I look forward to meeting you on the podcast, and I hope things go well for you. Sorry that you're crippled. And Kenny hates you, by the way. Kenny, of all the Zaniacs, of course, Kenny can't stand the guy. Kenny complains about everything on the podcast, but he doesn't like his voice. And so, I don't know. I can't say anything to further that along. All I know is that Kenny is like, I can't stand it. I can't take it. I can't take it, man. I just can't take it. His voice. Fuck it. Don't worry about it. God, he does the best he can. All right. The open of this show and the live stream. I've got sponsors that bring it to you. First of all, I want to say this. If you like the show, you would really help me move the meter if you bought a damn T-shirt. EricZaneShow.com. Click on merch. Check out all the styles and different things you can buy. Stickers, magnets, tapestries. Who buys a tapestry? Kenny bought one. Jason Mays bought one. There you go. You can get everything you want. T-shirts, different styles, different colors, whatever you want. All there at EricZaneShow.com. Click merch. Stand by. Sometimes I get a little stuffy. I was in my meeting yesterday. I felt like an idiot. I felt pressure because there was a ton of people in the meeting. I mean, this was potential super spreader event. We were packed in there like sardines. I have not been in this scenario in over a year where I was with a lot of people. And these are all strangers. Okay. Every single one of them are wonderful. But I succumbed to pressure. And I hope to God I survived and did not get COVID. Because there was one guy wearing a mask and he wasn't even wearing it right. It was like just over his mouth. I am not going to do that again. I look back on it and I feel so stupid now. But to be totally honest with you, I felt intimidated because there wasn't one person wearing a mask. And I go, you know what? I should really be wearing a mask. I should be wearing 2. I had 2 in my pocket. Like, why am I not wearing a mask? What an asshole I am. So I am going to wear that from now on. I am not going to let that happen again. I just pray to God I did not get sick. And then this morning, for some reason, I don't know why, but I normally don't eat till like noon. But I ate a little bit this morning, and right away, I got like nauseous. I'm like, why am I nauseous? Holy shit. Can I still taste the caramel corn that I just stuffed in my mouth? I can? Okay, good. Of course, I don't know if symptoms would manifest that quickly. Isn't it like a 14-day waiting period if you're exposed to anybody who has COVID where you could possibly get sick? Shit. Michigan's starting to come down a little bit. The positivity rate is dropping to about 13%. It was as high as like 18%. Oh, fuck. And I think we had about 4,500 people that got sick yesterday. So hopefully this will start to run its course a little bit. I think we're getting to a point, though, and I'll get to these sponsors in a second. I know you're dying to hear from them. I think we're getting to a point, though, in the vaccination that we're getting to where, like, you got like half of the population is vaccinated, but now there's a lot of unfilled appointments. We're getting to that point where the amount of people that are going to get vaccinated, and then that's it. I suspect that it'll be a tougher road to get people who are on the fence there to get it done because whatever reason, hell, I got family members that aren't going to take it. I got a brother, my son Jim, his better half Aubrey. They're like, I don't know about that. And again, I am out of business. I am not going to try to convince anybody. I'm out. I am not going down that. If you guys want to talk about that and try to convince each other on the stream and say your piece, you go for it. But to me, it is a wasted breath, a wasted bit of effort because it's just no fun to me. It's no fun to try to tell you how I feel about this. It's probably the most polarizing thing. I would rather talk about Trump, red state versus blue state, than I would want to talk about the vaccine at this point. Just not interested in any way, shape, or form. Which, by the way, Friday, I'm getting mine. Friday, I'm getting my second vaccine. If me and the NFK and Justin are getting the second vaccine. I feel good about that. Okay. Hey, thanks to Mario and the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage, 231-332-6505. I want you to reach out to Mario if you need a mortgage. And I love the idea of this. Let's say you're doing okay. Let's say you've got a 30-year mortgage right now, and you're doing fine, okay? And you've got, 3.85 on the interest rate, which is a good interest rate for 30 years. You can cut your payment time in half. Go to a 15-year and pay a little bit more. Well, a little bit more than a little bit more each month, but save thousands, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on interest. Okay, so let's say you got a $400,000 mortgage, okay, and 3.85%. By the time you're done paying that thing on 30 years, you're going to pay $185,000, $195,000 in interest alone before you pay off the whole house by the time you're old. Fuck that. Convert it to a 15-year, get your interest rate down to about 2.5%. You're going to pay, $50,000 in interest, okay? And you're going to get the house paid off so much quicker. But Zane, how much is that more a month? Well, I'm guessing you think, double, right? No, that's not true at all. Have Mario work the math out for you. If you can swing the extra cheddar a month, this is a great thing to do. Now, some of you are like, well, that would never be me. I just want to get into a house. I've got terrible credit, Zane. Yeah, Mario can work with you too. And you won't get the lowest interest rate, but you will be able to pay on something that is yours instead of some greasy landlord, for God's sake. Get out of that and get into your own mortgage with the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. Hey, it's time to think about getting your pistol license so you can walk around with that thing concealed. That is the way to go if you're worried about protection, keeping yourself safe. The first thing you need to do is not go buy a gun, okay? The first thing you need to do is get your certification from Prince Arming. If you're in West Michigan, these classes take place several times a month. Take the class and then take your certification and go get your license with whatever county that you live in, all right? He has all these certification. You're going to take a test. You're going to watch a video. You're going to listen to a lawyer speak. You're going to get range time. You're going to have Q&A. Once you take your test and pass it, you take that little thing and says, I pass. And then you go to your county, they fingerprint you, they do a background check. 2 months later, voila, your little picture shows up on a card. It says, you can carry your pistol concealed. Have fun. And that's that. Prince Arming is the way to go. The class is $125. You got 2 scheduled classes in May. One of them is an all-ladies class. Happens over 2 days. You can get all the information at princearming.com or on his Facebook page, which you can get to that by searching Prince Armin on Facebook or clicking on his logo at ericzaneshow.com. 616-204-1705 is the number to call. All right. The kind of the country in the world waiting with bated breath on what's going to happen in the Chauvin trial. Okay, this is what I think. And this is what you came here for, is to hear what I think. Thank you for that. I'm lucky. I think he should be convicted of murder. I don't think he will be convicted of murder. The defense made a big deal about reasonable doubt that he did not commit murder. I don't think he will be completely not guilty. I think that you will get a standing manslaughter charge that he will have to do time for. But I don't think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. It's just my gut talking to me. I have no knowledge about anything. You know how I am. I just shoot from the hip and pick up the pieces. But I absolutely think that if he did not put his knee on that man, here's the way I look at this. If this guy who was loaded with drugs and had a terrible heart and it wasn't the picture of health, if this incident never happened, if he never tried to exchange a counterfeit bill and the cop never put his knee on him, he would still be walking around today doing whatever it is he's doing, probably up to no good, frankly. This was not a Boy Scout by any means, but that's irrelevant. But he'd probably be alive today. I think it's fair to say anyone who thinks that George Floyd, if he just happened to be walking down the street, would have dropped dead at the exact same time without having a knee on his neck, I don't believe that to be true at all. And I think if you actually believe that, that's a foolish way to think. And it's wrong. I think the cop's knee on the guy is what caused his body. It was the final straw. The body's like, all right, we can handle all the drug addiction. We can handle the enlarged heart. This guy's not exactly the healthiest dude in the world, but holy shit, there's someone squeezing down on the neck with a knee. Had that not happened, this guy would still be breathing today, probably. But he's dead, and I think that the cop had everything to do with it. Man, so then there's the idea of what's going to happen in the event that, to me, worst case scenario is this guy does not get the book thrown at him, and he's only convicted of manslaughter. And the absolute worst case scenario is he gets off completely exonerated. You got to live with that. But then there's the idea of there's going to be a massive riot everywhere. Okay. When this all went down, you had people running roughshod. Okay. When the initial thing happened, people were pissed off. And then you had a mixture of pissed off people along with crazy people destroying our shit. And then it kind of snowballed into a bigger and bigger and bigger thing. And then all the assholes came out of the woodwork and broke all our stuff. And that will happen again. And I think that because it happened the last time, it's going to be worse this time. So what do? And if you're the cops, everybody's balled in, kind of in the same grouping concerning this issue. So there's gonna be fighting between cops and citizens. This is fucking terrible. Honestly, stay away from any metropolitan area. This is what I would tell you. Don't go anywhere near any place where something crazy is potentially going to happen. Seriously. And so I don't know. I just got a terrible, terrible feeling after the what happened in the first time to what's happening now. There's going to be a lot of lawlessness. There's going to be a lot of upheaval, and that fucking scares the shit out of me. You know what doesn't help? Maxine Waters. Oh, shit. Maxine Waters is a congresswoman who She did some talking, and this might come back to haunt some people. Kevin McCarthy, who is a House Minority Leader, he's trying to censure Democratic Congresswoman Maxine Waters because, according to CBS, which is remarkable that CBS would word it this way, because typically they fan the flames the other way. We all know that. Maxine Waters encouraged protesters in Minnesota to stay on the street, quote, stay on the street, and, quote, get more confrontational. That's not great. That is not great in any way. I don't care what side you're on. If you've got a leader saying, stay on the street and get more confrontational, if they don't see a guilty verdict returned in the Derek Chauvin trial regarding the death of George Floyd. This is another piece of the puzzle that is convincing me that this is going to be a shit show. And you know what she did with this? This didn't help in any way the cause of the family of George Floyd. Now, all these poor people want is to get this guy his death avenged, for justice to be served, and I don't fault them in any way, shape, or form for that. Okay. Waters made the comments during a protest over the weekend, as people were waiting for this week to start for the jury to start doing their work. She told reporters Chauvin should be found guilty. All right, great. I understand that. She says, I hope we get a verdict that says guilty, 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 she said. Now, here's where you kind of run into a little bit of an issue. I don't necessarily fault her for saying that, because the jury is supposed to be sequestered. They're supposed to not be paying attention to this shit. And you got to understand, the jury has spent a great deal of time and energy being laser focused on this, is to the best of their ability. At least they should be. So frankly, if I was in a jury, I know I would not let anything get in my way of what I'm hearing actually within the courtroom. That's your duty. Okay. So I don't buy the fact that what she says can influence a jury. I just don't. And the judge agreed, because the defense tried to get this to have a mistrial because of her statement. And the judge said, nah, I'm not gonna do that. She said, we got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. They've got to know that we mean business. Now, in remarks to the Griot on Monday, she did not back down from her remarks, and she said she is, quote, nonviolent. Well, you see, you had to follow up to say it, though. You didn't say it when you first said it, so the morons who are going to use that as fuel are the same. It's the same mentality that was thrown around when Trump spoke at the Capitol. Okay. People were quick to say that those assholes that went into the Capitol were fueled by Trump. Okay. And I believe that. I do believe that. So it goes both ways. It's a two-way street. She said that, and that is going to be used as fuel for these maniacs who are going to run through our streets, and then the cops are going to have to kick more ass, and I hope they're fucking kicking tons of ass. If my poor buddy Bob Kaiser, who owns Kilwin's Chocolates downtown, or Kilwin's Candies, it was a real shit show for Bob. His windows were all busted out because these sons of bitches went through. And frankly, the job of the police is to keep the peace. And I would indiscriminately bash tons of heads if anybody started breaking windows in the city that you're supposed to defend. But now you're fueled by pieces of shit like Maxine Waters saying, we got to get more confrontational. I don't know if you can say in one breath, we got to get more confrontational, wait a couple of days, and then say, oh, but I mean nonviolent. That is not in any way different than what Trump said when he said, go down to the Capitol and do whatever the fuck he said, and then he kind of tried splitting hairs, and it's the same thing. It is no different whatsoever. Then this was thrown out there. Quote, Republicans will jump on any word, any line, and try to make it fit their message and their cause for denouncing us and denying us, basically calling us violent. Yeah, you did the same thing. You did the same thing on January 6th, so shut up. Anytime they see an opportunity to seize on a word, so they do it, and they send a message to all of the white supremacists, the KKK, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, and all that. Yeah, fuck you. Don't lump everybody in with that, okay? You're an asshole. So she is doubling down, okay? She's not walking this back at all. Pelosi dove right in and defended her and said that Waters had talked about She says, yeah, well, she basically took her words and added something to it. She stated that Waters had, quote, talked about confrontation in the manner of the civil rights movement. And she said, no, I don't think she should apologize. Well, I don't give a shit if she apologizes or not. But when you see your city's burning, this is partly her fault. Okay? Apology doesn't matter. You said it. The genie's out of the bottle. It's the same way when Trump said it. Trump's a fucking asshole for saying that shit. And any of those assholes that went there and were screaming and yelling, bring us Mike Pence, we want to hang him. Yeah, of course, those dicks. Those are all simple-minded fucking fools who are influenced by Trump. Just like the pieces of shit, they're going to destroy our cities in a matter of hours whenever this takes place. And it's because of fucking idiots like Waters and Pelosi. Goes both ways. Fuck you. The judge in the Chauvin trial, he came down on this and said, hold on a second here. The word is castigated. Now, I don't know what the hell that means, but it sure doesn't sound good. I'm guessing it's something along the lines of scolding Maxine Waters and says, saying she may have given the defense grounds for appeal in the event of a conviction. Now, to me, that is the most important thing of all of this story, okay? When the judge in charge of the trial says, you didn't help at all, because if there's something that goes against the defense, they have grounds for an appeal. You did not help George Floyd's family with your saber rattling, you idiot. And Republicans have accused Waters of inflaming tensions. Yes, I agree she did. But again, pot, kettle. Republicans, you do the same damn thing. Your president was on stage winding up all these fucking knuckle draggers to storm the Capitol. So you got, at the end of the day, these are all assholes, and I'm better than them all, okay? I know more than all of these people. That's what I'm telling you. This weekend in Minnesota, Maxine Waters broke the law by violating curfew and then incited violence. Well, whatever. McCarthy tweeted Monday evening, Speaker Pelosi is ignoring Waters' behavior. That's why I'm introducing a resolution to censure Representative Waters for these dangerous comments. Well, whatever. I don't even know. Who gives a shit? That's not going to do anything. And then this crazy bitch, Marjorie Taylor Greene, gets involved. She said she's going to introduce a resolution to kick Waters out of the House. I don't know. Whatever. All I care about is what's going on with his trial right now. And I think Maxine Waters did a huge disservice to the family. She's 1,000,000% wrong. But then again, all of these assholes have been wrong at one point. So if anybody's on one side or another pointing a finger, you're all idiots. Absolutely. But she and Pelosi are the latest idiots. Okay? It's what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? And right now, Maxine Waters is the big troublemaker in all of this. This is all bullshit. Okay. Now, on to my man, Mike Lindell. Okay. So Lindell is starting Frank. What the fuck is Frank? It's his new social media site. Why don't you just utilize Parler? Why do you have to make a new social media site? He's hosting a 2-day Frankathon to promote his new social media platform. Okay, so he's trying to raise money. He's taking calls. I'll link it up, but on the video, He's sitting there with some guy. I don't know who the hell it is. And he's convinced, he's been told that Donald Trump is calling him. And it starts with like a female handler saying, "Mr. Lindell, we've got the former president on the line with you." And he goes, "Okay." And he's really stoked about it. And the audio is kind of janky. It isn't like it's a professional setup. He's got like a fucking thing hooked up to his phone, and it sounds a little wonky. But he's just dying to get Trump on, and he's so stoked because either you have a person doing a good impression or they're playing something off a soundboard of Trump saying, "Hello, how are you?" And Lindell goes, "Oh, this is it. This is him." And then the joke is revealed. Holy shit. Here you go.
Yes, sir. Breaking news here with a guest.
Hello?
Hello, yes, I have Mr. Trump on standby. Are you ready?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir. Hello, everyone.
We have the president here, our real president, everyone. Hello, Mr. President.
MacronShow.com, bitches. MacronShow.com.
Okay.
All right.
I
Sorry,
guess that
folks.
wasn't. I guess that was. You see what they're doing? They're attacking us.
Yeah.
They're attacking us, and this is what. That even came up. They're hacking into our phones. It came up that it was a legitimate number.
Call.
A legitimate. I know the number's coming from.
Okay, so I'm not sure how they're doing this, but it's hilarious. And he freaks out. And he's like, "Oh, and you should see how quickly he moves to hang up the call." When I don't even know what the guy said. He said something nasty. I heard bitches. But so, and he's like, "Oh, we got hacked. This is terrible. Holy shit, my God." All right, so that's all happening. And then he goes to the phone again. And he thinks it's some reporter for the Wall Street Journal or something like that. And he actually had a friend on, and he like brooms the friend and brings in this fucking reporter who reels him in a little more. So here you go.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Hey, hold on. I think I got a reporter beaming in. Scott, thank you for calling in. God bless you.
Beaming in.
Goodbye.
Hello.
Hey, Mike, it's Ron with the Wall Street Journal.
Yes, you're live. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, that's great. But, Mike, I have some bad news to tell you, I'm afraid, and I hope you can share this with everybody. But unfortunately, Alexa passed away just a few minutes ago from a drug overdose.
Okay, this is a prank phone. This is a prank phone call. You see what they're doing, everybody? That was an attack there because I brought up this great reporter. And that was an attack. You heard it here. This is what these attack groups are doing. Prime example there. We took it live.
I'm not.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
All right. I'm not. The idea of we're being attacked, and I'm not sure what the comment was pertaining to. Some of you people who pay attention to that shit might know a little bit more than me. The whole idea of Alexa was strange. So that's just funny. I just wanted to play that because I thought it was funny. I don't give a shit about Mike Lindell or anything about him. I think that guy's crazy. And so that's where I stand on that. But a funny prank. I don't care about anybody getting attacked. I only want to be entertained. Holy shit. Okay, in the interest of full disclosure and transparency, we must talk about this. If I didn't, I would be murdered. I know there's been a lot of things concerning politics and hot button issues, but I try to make it as entertaining and keep it moving as best as I can. I would be remiss if I did not mention this. Do you remember when the Capitol siege took place and there was a Capitol cop named Brian Sicknick who died? And at first the story was he got bashed over the head with a fire extinguisher. And then that they kind of got away from that, and no, that's not what happened. And then they said, "Oh yeah, he got sprayed with bear spray." And then for one reason or another, that put into motion a sequence of terrible things, and he just died. And so not really sure exactly more than that. And the story that's the story. That's what we talked about. And this happened because of the siege, and then a couple people who were they finally tracked down the people who were involved in the assault on him, was spraying him with the bear spray, and so now that opens up, okay, can they be charged with his death and murder and all that shit? So, but making this a little bit more complex is he died of natural causes, and you're like, wait, what? So, as far as I can tell, according to what I'm reading from the medical examiner, his death didn't have anything to do, did not have anything to do with what happened to him during the Capitol siege, which fucks everything up. Okay? According to this, CBS says he died of natural causes a day after the January 6th assault. The medical examiner in D.C. announced Sicknick was previously believed to have died from injuries sustained from the siege. He died from strokes. Citing the medical examiner in the report said acute brainstem and cerebellar infarcts due to acute basilar artery thrombosis. In short, strokes. Chief Medical Examiner Francisco J. Diaz told the Washington Post he suffered 2 strokes at the base of his brainstem caused by a clot in an artery. At approximately 2:20 p.m. on January 6, he was sprayed with a chemical substance outside the Capitol. He collapsed 8 hours later, died the following evening. Despite being sprayed with a chemical substance, Sicknick's manner of death was determined to be natural, the medical examiner's office said. In the interview with the Post, Diaz said the autopsy found no evidence of internal or external injuries found no evidence of an allergic reaction to the chemical substance, but did say, now this is weird because it seems to me like the examiner is saying 2 things here. The examiner did say, quote, all that transpired played a role in his condition. Well, how can you possibly say that? How can you say that he died of a natural causes, there was no allergic reaction, and then say all that transpired played a role in his condition? Quote, and then it says the natural classification is used. The natural death classification is used, quote, when a disease alone causes death. The medical examiner's office said in the summary, if death is hastened by an injury, the manner of death is not considered natural. Well, you can't say he died of natural causes, the strokes, and then in the previous breath say all that transpired played a role in his condition. You know, you see what I'm saying there? That's what I'm kind of focusing on. How can you make this big deal about he died of natural causes, but then also say that all that transpired played a role in his condition? So I'm a little confused. The medical examiner's office has not publicly released the full report. When first announcing his death in January, Capitol Police said he died from injuries sustained while on duty. In a Monday statement, Capitol Police said it accepted the finding that Sicknick died of natural causes, but said this does not change the fact that Sicknick died in the line of duty, courageously defending Congress and the Capitol. Well, it does. It absolutely does. If he died the next day because of a stroke of natural causes, well, that's not, if he had a stroke while he was fighting, then perhaps, but I don't know if you can even say that. All right, I guess that's splitting hairs. Who cares? You know, if you want to say it, if you want to say it, that's fine. But and you know, I'm sure. I mean, there's no doubt he was a very brave soul. But I guess the question needs to be asked now. Is because there's people that are being accused of terrible things that causing his death. I would assume that now that those 2 people that were involved in the riot that are in trouble for him for being responsible for his death to some degree, I'm sure that would have to be proven. They're like, thank God. Because, I mean, if he didn't actually die from having anything to do with what happened on the siege at the Capitol, well, then I don't know if he can be charged, if those two can be charged for that. So just something I need to follow up on. This is a story that it's kind of being talked about. They actually talked about this morning on the Today Show, but well into the show. It wasn't the lead or anything like that. So I needed to throw it out there in order to be fair as best as I could on this stupid shit show. Okay. Thanks to you all for being here, part of it. It's another great group. I see the conversations going on, and I know for a fact that some of you are like, we don't want to see all the comments, and I have been leaving them available for 1 full hour, so I am going to knock them out right now, and you got to live without them. All right. I see principled uncertainty is still with us, and this is important to me because this is a brand new listener. This person doesn't know who the fuck I am. He's only been watching or listening to the show for 1 week. So when you get because I have that pocket of people that followed me from the radio. If I get someone new who doesn't know who the fuck I am and is able to stick around because they like it, that's a huge deal for your old pal, Eric Zane. Principled, if you could, spread the word about your new best friend, Eric Zane. I see Richard is here. What's going on, buddy? And there is a serious discussion going on the chat, and I just cannot get into it because it is long and involved. And the reason why this is happening is because of the subject matter on the show today. So I'm glad you all are having at it. Please don't get deterred when Kenny says, "Stop it! I can't take it. I can't concentrate because y'all are talking about things." Keep doing what you're doing. Have at it. Hey, I would love to talk about your business on the podcast. All you got to do is drop me a line. It's that simple. Eric@ericzaneshow.com. Doesn't cost you anything. I will work tirelessly to show you and tell you how it works. Okay? And all of the things I can offer you. I was doing a little bit of research, which I do this from time to time. Again, I don't claim to be the biggest, but it is effective. That's why I have all these sponsors behind me. One of the things I do, for those of you who are watching on any of my live streams, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, on the live stream, there is actually a measurable number that I put in front of people. And in the last month, I have 130,000 minutes viewed of this show. Okay? I actually go into the inner workings of Facebook. You can look at it as a button that says Insights, and you can click on it, and I highlight it, and I send it off to prospective sponsors. Say these are the numbers. This is who's watching the show. So of those 130,000 minutes on Facebook, they see these signs behind me. They hear me talk about these people, and that's how we grow the show. So if you ever want to think about being part of that, I can tell you how it works. Just send me an email, eric@ericzaneshow.com, and I would love to tell you all about it. All right. For example, thank you to my friends at Gift of Life, Michigan. I would love you to be on the donor registry with Gift of Life. And no matter where you are, you can find out all the information you need just by going to my website, ericzaneshow.com, click on the Gift of Life logo, and you can see exactly what they're all about. Gift of Life Michigan is a great organization that works tirelessly so that people will fill out their donor cards and be on the registry so that in the unlikely event that they have an untimely passing, their organs can then be harvested and given to people who are waiting desperately on donor lists. So if you would love to help out, please just go to my website, ericzaneshow.com, and just get a little bit more information about Gift of Life. This doesn't cost you anything. I'm not asking you to buy anything. I'm just asking you to go and fill out the donor card. And then you too can be part of an army of people who want to help others in the unlikely event that you do pass. I know this is weird to talk about, but obviously it's very near and dear to me, organ donation. But yeah, it's kind of like a real blessing to be able to do what I do and have them as part of the show. By the way, an update on my book that I am writing. Yeah, I just was able to put a couple of things together because there is cost involved, and somebody suggested that I crowdfund it, and I said, no, I don't want to do that. I actually don't want any part of that. But I've just been able to put a few things in place that are allowing me to take the next step to getting the book published. And I am self-publishing it and writing it as we speak. But I cannot wait to share with you in book form my adventures from beginning of kidney donation to the end. And all the things in between. I look at my book as talking about the highlights and all of those points and the nuances of the kidney donation, but also just the general tone of it will be storytelling. You'll hear some radio things. You'll hear, I don't know how to describe this book. I hope it's going to make you laugh and in some cases make you cry, but I'm really excited about the book. So there you go. My friends at A&E Heating and Cooling remind you that you have till the end of the month to save $10 on an air conditioning tune-up. Normally it's $79. Till the end of April, it's $69. So get in on the early bird action with A&E Heating and Cooling. 616-516-8579. 616-516-8579. Schedule with Joe Martinez your AC tune-up. You do not want to just flip that thing on when it gets warm, because there's a lot that can go wrong, first of all, in the first startup. Second of all, if you haven't maintained it appropriately, there's a coating of sludge on those little metal fins that the air goes through, and then all of the tubing is interwound in there to cool the air. Well, if those are all blocked up with all those little, pollen things that come off the dandelions or whatever, those little fuzzy seeds that kind of form like this shit right on it, you need that cleaned off, because it makes a barrier, and then the air can't get through, and your air conditioner is going to work harder. It's going to burn more energy, be more expensive for you, and it's just not going to be efficient. So have Joe clean that thing off. It's only $69. Takes some half an hour, 40 minutes, and then you're done. Once a year, do that. 616-516-8579. Don't be an asshole. Get your air conditioning serviced with A&E Heating and Cooling. If you guys been following the story close to my neck of the woods here in West Michigan, there's a bar right next to West Michigan's campus, and I need to talk to the young lady who did this viral TikTok video about what is going on. And it seems like, hold on a second here. You know what, Principled? I'm going to come back to that question. No, I'm going to take care of it now. Principled writes this. Question, Eric. Question for Eric. Should he see this? What was your biggest takeaway from your WATP roasting? What did you change? Okay. I'm glad you asked that. I think what is important to note is when you're doing a solo show, you're constantly getting better at it. If you were to go in the future 2 years and compare that show to this show, what I'm doing right now, that show is going to be a lot better. And it's constantly evolving. Talking on your own for extended time is one of the hardest things I've had to do. And every day it improves just a little bit. It's still grossly shitty, but one of the things I think Carl touched on is trying not to get bogged down with things that are irrelevant. And I still do it to this day. I get caught up in details, looking at letting things distract me, things like that. Just a lot of nuance, nuts and bolts shit that sometimes you need to hear from someone to make you better. And they did that. And so when they rip on me about like sponsors and shit like that stuff doesn't really bother me, because I have to have that because this is my job. So when they rip on me about, oh my God, everything's sponsored and all this shit. Well, yeah, fuck yeah, it is. That's how I eat. So that's basically one of the things. It's kind of like just the important part about keeping the content moving. Principal says, I know, I looked. Or compared it back to the first couple beers with the NA beers in makeshift studio. It's come along. It's Chris says, compare back to the first couple shows with the NA beers and makeshift studio. It's come a long way. Oh yeah, you are he wrote RCIPE, a recipe change away from something golden. What does that even mean? The fuck are you writing? Dirk, that cock writes, "You rarely let facts distract you." Fuck you. Chris says, "Remember the evening shows?" Oh man, yeah. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I used to like start the day, sleep it into like noon. Whoever came up with the idea to try to do it at a set time every single day, that was awesome. That actually helped. All right. So I hope, you know what? You just earned email of the day. Why did Carl's people refer to him as Carl and then said any black Zaniac shouldn't listen? I have no idea. I don't know anything about that. All right, enough of the comments. I'm going to get distracted and probably break all the rules that I've made for myself about keeping the content moving. But thank you. If you ever have a question that you want to ask me directly that I can park on that, because I sometimes miss the comments. Sometimes I just don't go back and look at them. Send me a direct question, eric@ericzaneshow.com. Okay, let me get back to what I was talking about. In Kalamazoo, Michigan, there's this bar called Y Bar, and they're covering the story, but no one's really coming out and saying directly what they think. I think they're trying to avoid legal ramifications, or they're concerned about the accusation. But just the other day, like a week ago, there was a group of young ladies there. And so they go to this bar called Y Bar, and now I didn't know this, but there had been this bar has a reputation, and people in that community, the college kids are like, "Hey, you don't want to go there. This isn't the best place for you. It's not safe." And so people are like, what are you fucking talking about? What are you, crazy? Now we're going, people are going to do what they want to do. Well, this group of young ladies goes to the bar, and then they all go home, but they don't remember anything from one particular point of the evening, like almost like clockwork. Their memories are all wiped out. It was like Men in Black. And then they all woke up the next day and they're like, "What the fuck happened? What we think something happened to us." So they all go to the doctor and they all take tests, and the tests come back as they have ingested something that they didn't sign up for. Somebody put something in their drink. So they're like, "Wait a minute." So no one's really coming out directly and saying it. And I don't know if that's because of concerns about legal or what. I have no idea. But this is all started with a TikTok video with one of the young girls. And this is the audio from the TikTok video that got the ball rolling.
Hi, everyone. TikTok is trying to silence me on this issue, so if you live in the Kalamazoo area or go to Western Michigan University, please listen. On Monday night, a group of friends and I all went to Y Bar
last Monday
Bistro on Howard Street, and in the morning, none of us had any recollection of our evening. We all then tested positive for opioids in our system, and that was a group of 14-plus girls. And we all only received drinks from one person the entire night, and if you're from this area, you probably know who I'm talking about. That same person offered to give us rides home, made sexual comments to us, literally followed us to Fort Lauderdale on spring break to hang out with all of us. So if you've ever...
Whoa. One person giving us all the drinks, making sexual comments, offered to drive us home, and followed us to Fort Lauderdale? What?
Plus girls. And we all only received drinks from one person the entire night, and if you're from this area, you probably know who I'm talking about. That same person offered to give us rides home, made sexual comments to us, literally followed us to Fort Lauderdale on spring break to hang out with all of us. So if you've ever felt personally victimized, felt like you've been drugged, if anything bad has ever happened to you at Y Bar, please go to secretobservers.com and write a tip. It's completely anonymous, and you can tell them your story, include any type of information that you have. We visited the police multiple times, and they're not making a big enough deal about this.
Well, yeah, why?
So please do your best to spread the word. Don't want anyone to get hurt. Our doctor literally told us that we should have died last night. So please.
All right, we got a little vocal fry there, a little too much word literally, but all right, you get the idea what's going on.
Best to spread the word. Don't want anyone to get hurt. Our doctor literally told us that we should have died last night. So Please pause and read these Yelp reviews to kind of show you what goes on there.
She said, read these Yelp reviews. So on the end of the video, if you pause it, there's a Yelp review, and she wanted you to look at it. So I did. I screenshot it, and this Yelp review. I can't see. Son of a bitch. So this place is disgusting beyond reasonable doubt, this person wrote, in more than a few ways. First off, then they make a comment about the food. I don't give a shit about that. Yeah. If you were drugged or something terrible happened, I'm guessing you don't want to start with telling me about how terrible the mac and cheese is, stupid, on your Yelp reviews. She says the owners are alcoholics. Whatever. We all are. The biggest thing anyone should do, especially if you're a female, is stay away from this bar. Yeah, you buried the lead, dummy. When I was working in the kitchen, the partial owner, White John, because there is an Asian guy who actually owns the place, and his name is John too. White John pushed his current girlfriend at the time on the floor after an argument. This is all allegations. Just so I don't want to get fucking sued here. I'm reading someone's Yelp review. She has also come in beat up a few times. One of my friends who was underage at the time was taken advantage of. White John brought her in, got her super drunk, and took her back to his place to have sex with her. To have sex with and to cocaine with as well. This is written very poorly. She was my neighbor and told me about this. I was mortified to work for such a person. This guy constantly gropes underage women, especially if you're 18 and attractive. He also tries to get good with the frats so he can, quote, get some 18-year-old pussy. He allows underage drinking so he can make some money and is extremely racist. So this is some serious allegations that is being thrown the way of Y-Bar. So where does that leave us? MLive picked up on the story because there's a group of people that are protesting across the street from there. And you see like a line of people holding signs, people that are blowing the whistle on these guys at the bar. So they're lining the street across from this place to make a big deal about it. So, honestly, these people are going the extra mile and no one from the bar is talking. So this is really, really strange. So they're trying to let the world know about this, and hopefully with the publicity, no one will go to, the goal is for these people to shut the bar down. No one will go to the bar. They won't get any money, and then they'll have to shut the whole damn thing down. This person says, I think they're closed today. This is yesterday because of this. The more we come out here, the longer this will go down, and we'll be able to shut them down. The bar's doors were locked Monday evening. No one answered the phone. About 40 people gathered outside the business. This all started from the TikTok video that went viral last week. 3 women have been interviewed by the police there, according to a report obtained by the Freedom of Information Act. One woman said she did not have proof her drink was tampered with, but hoped coming forward would inspire others to do the same. The women reported having 2 drinks and a shot across 4 hours, which would not be enough for them to black out the night's events, they told cops. They took over-the-counter drug test, which came back positive, but the police report redacted what kind of drugs. People gathered Monday. Kayla Vincenti Cole, now a WMU senior, said upperclassmen warned her when she first arrived on campus that Y-Bar was not safe, even in groups. I can't believe anybody ever even went to this place knowing the track record of it. So I guess that's it. There's like, I'm a little worried about what cops are doing about this. I mean, that's quite an accusation. And I'm guessing with just some very basic police work, you could probably get to the bottom of this. And I'm wondering if they've had a talk with this White John guy. I'm curious to know more, but that is all some creepy ass shit. 14 women just like that. Can you imagine it comes out that they actually were just shit-faced and this guy's like, wait a minute. Hey, come on. All right. On to the nerds. The Ingenuity took off from planet Mars, from the new airfield. I don't know what it is about Ingenuity. That's the helicopter that's on Mars. I just feel like I need something more tangible to get really excited about this. I mean, they launched the thing, and because this is the type of thing that I would be really excited about. If you don't know, they have a drone similar to what your kid wants to play with on the planet, and it took off. And they actually have the footage. It's actually pretty cool when you think about it, how far away we are from Mars, and it worked. The thing worked flawlessly. So.
Jubilation at JPL Mission Control. The images from Ingenuity, 180 million miles away.
Wow.
Simply stunning. Videos shot from the nearby rover captured the drone's entire 30-second flight, from liftoff to hovering at 10 feet to landing. Ingenuity's own camera even caught its shadow on the Martian surface.
Now, there's not a guy who's like working it. Okay, it's not like you or me working a drone. It's doing it on its own. I guess there's a sequence program in there. I mean, it'd be too far. It'd be like a massive lag time of, however long it takes a message to travel 180 million miles.
The challenges were huge. The Martian atmosphere is 99% thinner than Earth's, requiring 4 ultralight rotor blades.
This really is a Wright brothers moment. It's the start of a whole new kind of planetary exploration.
In their honor, Ingenuity carries a tiny piece of cloth from their 1903 plane. And
I don't believe that. Yeah, right. You mean to tell me that they went back to the old plane and cut part of it off to put it onto here? That's bullshit. They just made that up.
Today, NASA named the landing zone Wright Brothers Field, complete with its own international airport code. 4 more chopper flights are
This is all stupid.
planned, and someday aerial surveys of canyons, craters, and ice caps.
We are going to continually push all the way to the limit of this
Take your mask off.
rotorcraft. We really want to push the rotorcraft flights to the limit and really learn and get information back from that.
A history-making day, a world away. Tom Costello, NBC News, back here on Earth.
Yeah, I wish we could get an idea of what exactly you hope to achieve with that. I mean, 'cause sure, it flies around and it's looking at things, but it's not. It just feels like all of this work, all of this money sent to there, it's executed flawlessly, and now we've got the drone on there, and it just seems like not big enough of a payoff for me. You know what I mean? It seems like it's going to take forever to actually get something. I mean, it's cool, but not that cool. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. Just need a little bit more of a payoff. All right. Hey, I'll be on Patreon coming up with Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer trivia coming up at about 10:30 with Dale. I'll be having Chris on. He's going to try to win the big $25 prize. Chris will take on Dale in trivia. Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer trivia. If you don't know, Dale was served plenty of time behind bars in his past life as one of the most prolific drug dealers in all of West Michigan. Then he kind of left that life behind. He's on the straight and narrow now. While he was in prison, he got his throat slashed and it damaged his vocal cords, so it screws up his voice massively. But he plays trivia with you. So we'll take care of that on Patreon. Whoever wins, if Dale wins, the prize rolls over to next week. And if you win, in this case, Chris will take on Dale. He will win the $25 bought and paid for by our sponsor, Bennett Flooring Installation. Thank you so much. Get more information about the game, patreon.com/Eric Zane. My friends at Blue Frost IT are reminding you that if you have a small or medium-sized business, you can have a tech company. You can have tech support with a managed IT service provider. All right. It doesn't cost. It's not going to be that much of a cost as compared to having an in-house tech team. And if you have a business and you don't have tech support ready to go, well, you're kind of rolling the dice, because if something goes haywire, you got to start from scratch about getting the repair done. And that means time. That means money. Consider a managed IT service contract from Blue Frost IT. Reach out to them, either info@bluefrostit.com or call them at 616-200-8550 for more information. Or if your business needs contract work, maybe new drops, new wall jacks, a whole new tech setup, retrofitting the office, or you're moving, you want a whole new setup, Sit down for a complimentary consultation with Blue Frost IT. 616-200-8550. Oh, and if you're at home and maybe your nerd kid wants a new gaming computer, have Blue Frost IT build it for you, okay? They're just going to find out your needs, what the kid wants, and build you a computer. That's what they did for me, and my computer is just awesome. I've had it for more than a year, and it's absolutely changed the game for me. And I've got them on a managed IT service contract, which I just remembered I did not pay them this month, so I have to send that money along. Thank you, Eric, for reminding me. Blue Frost IT, online at bluefrostit.com. Okay, if you really want to have some fun outdoors, get a set of cornhole boards from Cornhole America. Anywhere in the USA, reach out to them, cornholeamerica.com, and get yourself a set of professional, customized cornhole boards. You can put any logo on it. The Eric Zane Show podcast. You can put Who Are These Podcasts? You can put Joe Rogan on there. You can put the Detroit Tigers on there. Anything. You can put it onto a set of cornhole boards. Cornholeamerica.com for more information. If you want to go with just the standards with their logo on it, it's going to be cheaper. About $160, $170 for that set of professional boards that are going to last forever, and professionally handmade bags. If you want to put your own logo on the boards or the bags, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But still, these are the best in the business. Reach out to them at cornholeamerica.com. Please mention that you heard it on the Eric Zane Show podcast. Principled, who I'm just getting a kick out of, who's brand new. Cornhole board? Sorry, I'd never heard that expression before. Yeah, it's because you don't know shit. I don't know. You might be young. Cornhole boards, that's the boards with the hole in them. You throw the bags. That's called cornhole. It's been around forever. If you weren't like 19, you'd know these things. And yes, they will deliver to Rochester. My God. If you got out and had some friends, more than virtual friends once in a while, you'd be able to do fun shit like this. But you're tied to the computer too much. My God. Totally kidding. All right. Thanks to Dirk, who sent along another great story. Dirk was full of them. And if you ever want to help the show, send me a link to a story that you think I might enjoy talking about on the show. Send me a link, eric@ericzaneshow.com. I've got a handful of audience members who send me great shit. Rob influenced the show today with his Mike Lindell story. Dirk is usually pretty strong in his content that he sends this way. This one I just love because it centers around something that really bums me out. Whenever you hear a story about like poachers, like in South Africa doing crazy shit, or in any part of the world where you shouldn't do that shit, in particular when you see video of like a fucking rhino carcass or an elephant's carcass after the scumbag poachers kill the animal for its tusks or whatever. For whatever reason, they on the black market, those go for big bucks. It's just a terrible, terrible thing. I don't even like it, but I understand it a little more when I see like people who've like killed a giraffe or a lion or shit like that. But I did do a little investigating on those hunts that take place, and there's like a whole industry that goes with that. I would never do that. Hell, I get sad when I kill a fucking fly. So you better believe when I see any animal that's killed, I hate it. Okay, but believe me, I get it. When it comes to conservation and sustaining habitats and all that shit, and you hear about entire industries overseas that center around this, and it's the populations of these animals are managed. So I get it. I hate it, but I get it. But what no one likes is the poacher, because you get like protected species and things like that, where these scumbags are like commissioned by other scumbags to go out and kill these animals and just there's no regulation whatsoever when it comes to poaching. So in Kruger National Park in South Africa, the area is patrolled by the government to keep these idiots from doing this exact thing. But you had, in this scenario, the authorities are there with the binoculars and like, I think we got something. a mile away. I think there's something going on over there, as they could see something happening. So the Rangers were dispatched. Okay. They were put on patrol in this one area, and they spotted 3 people believed to be poachers. So they're like, okay, we think we got these guys. So they called for backup, and the bad guys ran away. So they didn't catch him, but they left behind an axe, which shows you the brutality of what they're doing. They like kind of go up to the animal and just bludgeon it to death or whatever, and hack off its tusks or some shit. So this is real greaseball stuff. All right. They ended up catching one of the bad guys, though. And he said, I'm actually lucky that you caught me, because the other 2 assholes, they encountered a herd of elephants. These guys were trying to harvest rhino horns, which I guess has fetches big dollar amount on black market. But so these guys are like running away from the Rangers, and they like come around like a grove, and all of a sudden they're face to face with Stampy and the rest of Stampy's elephant family. And I've heard stories about elephants that they have mean tempers if they feel like the little ones are being threatened. I think that happens with any animal. Whenever mama elephant or mama bear is there, you're fucked. Like if you're going for a hike in the Smoky Mountains and you see a little black bear, you're dead. Get the fuck out of there. First of all, get your head on a swivel, because there's going to be a pissed off mama bear right there. You just don't see it yet. And she's about to rip your fucking intestines out and shove them up your asshole. So, you got to look around. And then if you see mom, you better start making noise. And for God's sake, don't run. Okay? Same thing. These assholes come around the corner, and there's fucking mom elephant, and the little one's like, yeah, get her, ma. And so the elephant went cuckoo bananas and beat the shit out of these guys. So they're like, all right, let's go find him. And sure enough, they found the one guy, and his body parts are all like, his legs, his arms. And you remember when Joe Theismann broke his leg when Lawrence Taylor? That was the first Muppety leg break that we all saw. Okay. And then they did all the different angles when Lawrence, it just folded in half. It was incredible. This poacher's arms were all broken in like all the different spots where they shouldn't. It looked like he had joints in between his elbow and his wrist, in between his elbow and his shoulder, and just his head's where his feet are. The guy was completely ruined. And so he's dead. The elephant killed this guy. That is just so fantastic. Can you imagine how happy all the elephants were knowing that the poacher is dead, and all the rhinos are now like, yes, fuck yes, give us a hoof. The third suspect, he suffered an eye injury, but he ended up getting away. Rangers also later found the rifle. They said, we are proud of teamwork and dedication of it. Yeah, they're taking all the credit for it, but it was the elephant that actually is the big hero here. They're saying, the elephant helped us stem the tide of rhino poaching here in the park. My God. I wish they would show the body. I normally don't like gross stuff, but I'm so triggered by animal abuse that when the animal wins one, if I could see this man's mangled body, it would make me it would be such a release of the feel-good chemicals, all the serotonin in my brain. Oh my God, I would feel better about that than when if one of my posts on social media gets more than 3 likes. It would be so spectacular. So congratulations to the fucking elephants. Holy crap. Schaefer says the elephant curb stomped him without a curb. Absolutely. Jesus. That is spectacular. Okay. Speaking of defending oneself, this story was gleaned from one of these sources that it's like a off the beaten path news source in the Nashville, Tennessee area. I can tell by it's kind of like laden with all these ads on it, and it's It's just something that you probably wouldn't see in the Nashvillian, okay? Because the way they wrote it is just fantastic. But if you live in Nashville, Tennessee, and you subscribe online to Scoop Nashville, you might see stories like this. Well, there's a local menace who has been in the news before because in this story, there's a link to a previous story from like November of 2020 where he was like breaking into people's cars and the cops caught him and they said, all right, and he resisted arrest. So he was featured in Scoop Nashville with his mug shot. But the mugshot from that story in November 2020 was just him without his face, all beaten to shit. He had just gotten arrested for numerous things, including the break-ins and resisting arrest, so the cops detained him, whatever. So, all right, but he's back, okay? In a story just published yesterday in Scoop Nashville, Charles Knowles is he's clearly off his rocker and he does a lot of shit, and I think it centers around a drug habit. You know, a lot of times you do crazy shit in the hope of being able to either score something that can help you get more drugs, or the actual drugs are making you act like an asshole. This dumb fuck broke through a window of a home in the West Nashville part of town. He's 34 years old. So they determined that he didn't really have any intent to do anything more other than cause mayhem, because he was so whacked out on whatever. He just kind of broke the window and reached in and grabbed some lady's leg inside of the residence. Okay? She screamed, and there's people that also live in the home with her, a couple. Okay? And the man in the couple runs into the room and he sees Charles Knowles, like leaning into the window, hanging out of this lady's leg. And she's like, oh my God, holy fuck, get this guy out of here. Holy shit. The guy who's the good guy in this, in the story it details, he then beat the shit out of Charles Knowles with the first thing he could find. And it just so happens that the woman who was getting grabbed, she's got a really, really huge dildo. And I am not kidding you at all. I'm going to screen share this so you guys can see it. It is spectacular. Oh my God. It doesn't even quite look like, it doesn't actually have a penis shape to it. It's a little bit more of, if you can see in this clip here, or what I'm showing you, it looks like the end here, you have this little blue divider, and then this thing. I think you hang on to all of this, and then this is the deal that actually hits the good spot, you know? So, but look at this thing. This is probably 18 inches. This is a big, big deal. It looks very heavy. And if you swung it, and I like how in the image, they actually have it on the bed where there's blood all over the bed. So this dude got the shit beat out of him by this dildo. My God. If dildo salesperson Amanda is listening, she could probably give us a clear description of what this device is, but it looks to be quite a elaborate device that could do a ton of damage. Holy shit. Dirk says, vibrator, I could ride to Tampa on that thing. And he credits Andrew Dice Clay. Nick says, not a dildo, personal massage. No, that's a dildo. Kenny says this was not on the local news down here. So holy shit, that is an impressive thing. My God. And so this guy proceeded to just bash him over the head repeatedly. This all happened at like 3 a.m. back on March 24th, according to Nashville Metro Police. A disoriented Knowles broke through the bedroom window in the Nations neighborhood of West Nashville. He crawled through the broken glass and did exactly what I was describing. He grabbed her leg for no apparent reason. And when the commotion took place, the guy showed up and beat the shit out of him. He was eventually forced out of the home. The guy, get this. This is so crazy. I forgot about this part. Knowles got out of the home, and then so the people that live there are like, holy shit, I can't believe what just happened. Good thing you had that dildo here. Now I got to go wash my hands because my hands smell like your stinky vagina. He jumped a fence, and it says he landed in a neighbor's trash can. Now, in my mind's eye, it was like open, and then he landed in the can, and then it shut. But I'm guessing they mean that he hid in there. Police then arrived to find a closed trash can from which grunting sounds were emitting. Knowles was inside of the trash can until threatened with a taser, at which point he emerged and complied with police commands. He was covered in lacerations and bruises from both the shattered window and the attack from the vibrator. He was transported to Vandy, then booked into jail. Charged with aggravated burglary, $25,000 bond, scheduled to appear in court later this week. It is not believed that he had any intent to harm anyone. And the victim's report was he was acting irrationally during the encounter, he was talking about bombs going off and behaving quite erratic. Okay, and then they link up the other story in which he was losing his mind a year ago in November of 2020, a year and a half ago. Okay, so being that I every day I talk with people who are telling me the rock bottom stories. If you're Charles Knowles back in November of 2020 when he got busted, Charles Knowles' family is like, oh my God, Charles, we got to have an intervention here. You got to get you involved in some type of program. This is a rock bottom moment. Charles is like, hold my beer. Watch this. I'm going to burst into someone's home, get the shit beat out of me with a dildo for 15 minutes, run down the street, jump a fence, and try to hide in a garbage can. I'm guessing this is a rock bottom moment. You can only go up from here. Holy shit, that is incredible. Congratulations. All right. As you know, I'll link all these stories up in the comments of the Eric Zane Show audio podcast. You can find them in the news of ericzaneshow.com. As always, I will take suggestions and nominations for Asshole of the Day. Send them along or leave them on the chat. I'll go back and check them out if you have a suggestion for Asshole of the Day. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I'll get to I do have an email of the day. It is from Kenny. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate that. Okay. Now it's time for the best part of the show. That is me convincing you to call the sponsors. And let me just start with this. I know Megan's going to be like, Zane, what are you doing? But I think for the show, whereas I'll take some of the newer vehicles to Irvine's Auto Repair Grand Rapids Hybrid, I think I want to try an oil change in my garage. Now, I haven't done this in a long time. And the last time I did it was when I stripped out the bolt on the oil pan. Okay. And it was on that, it was a Dodge Neon. And so, that was made, it was kind of a shitty car. And the oil pan was like an aluminum. And so it was very easy to strip it out. And I told myself I would never, ever do an oil change ever again. And I haven't. And that will continue. However, on my really old truck, I was looking at that damn thing. It's so simple for your old pal Eric to do. So whereas I'm going to bring you the Journey, and I'm going to bring you the Civic, and I'm going to bring you the Accord, that is always going to happen. But I'm asking permission if you will let me do the truck at the house. If I can get permission from you, Megan, and the green light, then I'm going to call Jason Mays and do my own oil change. Now, you need to know that if I do that, there's probably going to be something hilarious that happens. Keep in mind, I'm the guy who tried to jumpstart my old Civic and put where I had the jumper cables on the car that was running. I then took and hooked it up to the battery on the Civic, my old Civic, and put the black clamp on the red and the red clamp on the black. And the second I did that, it went and it fried everything. I was fucked. So this leads to hilarity. So this is why you're going to want me to do this. Something bad is going to happen. Now, I hope it's not so bad where I wind up like a Mark Fidrich. If anybody gets that reference, you must send me an email. Anybody gets the Fidrich reference, you got to be old and you got to know about Fidrich. Send me an email, eric@ericzaneshow.com, if you get that joke. My point is this. Jason's got I'm buying the oil and I'm going to do the oil change. So you need to call Jason like I'm going to if you want AMS oil products. 616-747-0233 or online at jmsynthetics.com. I need a filter. I need oil. I told you I'm going to buy it. I've been putting this off, but it's happening. I promise you it's happening. JM Synthetics. Buy them from Jason Mays. All your AMS oil products. 616-747-0233. There's one store you can buy his stuff at. It's a hillbilly store called Ionia Outdoors. If you have a MAGA hat, wear it when you go in there, okay? Because they'll love you. They'll probably give you something free. JM Synthetics, sold at Ionia Outdoors, 616-747-0233. Go to the website, jmsynthetics.com. Okay. If you want your flooring installed where it doesn't look like shit, like you did it, you must call Bennett Flooring Installation. I love how these guys operate. The business model is they want you to do as much of the work as possible to save you money. So that means ripping up the old carpet, the old flooring. By all means, do that, okay? Get the floor ready, buy the flooring you want. But when it comes to actually putting the flooring down, do not do it yourself. It's going to look terrible. And then your wife or your significant other is going to be pissed off at you because it's going to look like shit, like everything you do. Have Bennett do it. Call them about an estimate. If you're in West Michigan, no, they're not going to drive that far out of the way. They're not that desperate, for God's sake. If you're in West Michigan, call Bennett Flooring Installation. This is what you do. Say, hey, I got a room. It's all ready to go. Come measure it. 616-318-0167. 616-318-0167. BennettFlooringInstallation.com. Come to your house. Take you 10 minutes. Measure that shit. They're going to go home, going to send you an estimate. This is how much it's going to cost. Boom. Pay them. They install it. You look like a champion. And you did do some of the work. You just didn't put the final product down. So don't make your room look like shit. Have Bennett Flooring Installation do it. That rhymes. 616-318-0167. Last but not least, this is the last sponsor of the day. BK Guns and Stuff. 616-902-2447. Another bunch of hillbillies who want to fix your weaponry. They are the gunsmith of choice on the Eric Zane Show podcast. If your pistol's busted, they'll fix it. If your rifle's shitty, they'll refurbish it. Customizations, cleaning, whatever you want done, firearms transfers, BK Guns and Stuff. You can call 616-902-2447. Doesn't matter where you are in the USA. They can tell you how to ship it to them. Their Facebook page, the letter B, the letter K, guns, the letter N, stuff. Get it? Or just click on their logo at ericzaneshow.com. Asshole of the Day nominees. Send them along. I'm going to go back and quickly review on the comments as quickly as I can, and then I'll assess based on the stories that I've talked about today and give you your asshole of the day. Kenny, on your email of the day, writes this. Subject, as soon as you said, ... that you didn't wear a mask, the comments began. Good for you, Eric. Don't live in fear. And then, quote, a mask won't protect you. Okay, let me just say this. Mind your own business. Don't tell me to live in fear or that I won't live in fear. I'm not going to tell you what you're going to do. Remember, I've turned over a new leaf. I'm not getting involved in any of that shit with you. So, no, I am going to live in fear. And I'm going to live to fight another fucking day. I'm going to wear a mask the next time. I'm kicking. So you can't say, good for you, Eric. Don't live in fear. When I said to you that I'm going to wear the mask the next time. I made a terrible mistake yesterday, in my opinion. Don't change my words. And a mask won't protect you, says you. Kenny didn't say those things. Those are the quotes he shared with me. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate that. Kenny says, I agree with you, Eric. It is insanely polarizing and not fun at all. That's why I'm not doing it. To constantly be arguing this shit, and that's what certain people, especially on the YouTube comments, want to talk about. Well, Kenny, to be fair, I don't care that they do talk about it. And then he says, every single fucking day. You know what? I encourage that. So I kind of agree with you on some parts, but I'm not going to tell people what they can and cannot talk about. You talk about what you want to talk about. If you want to talk about it, that is okay. But no, that was a huge mistake by me to not wear that mask. That's how I feel. And you won't change my mind. And I'm not going to try to change yours. You're entitled to your damn opinion. We've gone down this road far too much, and I am not going to alienate anybody. I refuse to about the mask. I'm just going to worry about me. I am done trying to tell you how to live your life. We good? I know we're good. Right now, Daisy, this is crazy. I'm looking on the screen there. But the fact that her mouth is directly on Bruce's asshole right now is crazy to me. Holy shit. Cats would never do that. Man. Principled writes, and I do like to read comments, I wear a mask everywhere required. It only protects others, but I don't care what anyone else thinks. Kenny says, remember when Eric said he wouldn't engage in that discussion? Well, I got him to. Pay up. Oh, was there bets made? Holy shit. Dirk says it only protects others if you're spewing funk into the air. Rich says, let's talk about the Mike Lindell social media site that is about free speech, but you cannot say fuck, cunt, or the Lord's name in vain. Oh, boy. You know what the thing about mask wearing is? I'm convinced that if I wear two, it's protecting me. It just, it gives me less anxiety when I have two. I might even start to wear three. I might even start to wear four. All right. Asshole of the day nominees. Asshole of the day nominees. Nick, you're spelling Fauci wrong. There's no H in it. Let's see here. I can't really, it's tough for me to kind of, there's a lot of comments today. So if you had one, throw an asshole of the day at me real quick. Dirk says, why stop at 4? Go for 5. I might wear 5. Do you think if you wore 5, it actually would protect you? You know? And if you're the only guy in the room wearing it, let's say, because if you're let's say you just wear one mask and I'm alone in the room, and because like yesterday there's like 35 people there at the meeting. And if I'm the only guy wearing it, I'm just, right? Isn't that how it works? I'm not protected from them. They're just protected from me, right? I don't know. I don't even give a shit. All right. It looks like I'm on my own for figuring out asshole of the day, and I'm up to the task, as always. Okay. Story about helicopters. Me possibly an asshole of the day nominee for not picking up the dog shit outside of the back of the house. Maxine Waters, I think it's a hard and fast nomination. Mike Lindell, I don't know if Mike Lindell gets an asshole of the day. I don't know if he necessarily, no, I don't think he can. I mean, I don't care for Mike Lindell, but did Mike Lindell really do anything that would warrant this award? I mean, he's just trying to do his own social media site. Yeah, he's a little kooky in my opinion, and he looks absolutely like Paul Bearer from WWE fame. But I don't think Mike Lindell should be an asshole of the day. He's an asshole for other reasons, but I don't think he should get this award. With the Sicknick story, I don't think there's anything that's asshole worthy about that. How about the guy who is being accused of crazy shit at Y Bar? That's tough. That's really tough because I don't know anything. I've got accusations from people. Boy, the folks at NASA, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, for being happy about ingenuity. No, you can't really be an asshole of the day for that. Poachers, absolutely. Absolutely, the poachers can be assholes of the day. How about the dummy who got beat up by the dildo? These are all potential candidates. We're narrowing it down to Maxine Waters, the Y-Bar guy, barely. And you think about the Y-Bar guy, I want him to be the guy. But I can't quite call him asshole of the day yet until I get more information, okay? I want to err on the side of caution on that. I don't just whip this award around to anybody just based on, this is a serious thing, guys. The poachers, okay, Maxine Waters, the poachers, and the dildo guy. One of those needs to leave so that it's down to 2. I'm going to keep Maxine Waters in there. If Trump can be thrown under the bus, so can Maxine Waters. So she's going to be a finalist. And the poachers, because they were going to kill an endangered animal. Dildo attack guy is, he's under the influence. Maxine, how would you like to be Maxine Waters, knowing that she could win the asshole of the day and she's in a tight fight with people who were going to kill a fucking rhino with an axe? Now, you cannot see what I'm writing down. Who is going to be the asshole of the day? You can get your final votes in on the live stream so that we can go back and see what you think as an audience. It's between the poachers and Maxine Waters. Taking a look. Rhino killers also major assholes. Kenny says where there's smoke, there's fire about the roofie guy. Roofie a-hole is asshole of the day. Yeah, he could be eventually. Asshole of the day, aluminum oil pans. Guys, I'm going to give it to Maxine Waters. There you go. That might be an upset, but I think Maxine Waters is your asshole of the day because at the end of the day, she, I think, is going to contribute to a real shit show when this trial ends. If it goes the way it could very well go. Maxine Waters is your asshole of the day. I appreciate your input. That's who it's going to be. Because in all fairness, Trump's been asshole of the day. And I think that her level of assholishness is inciting just as much as someone as Donald Trump. Totally different stories. Okay? The circumstances surrounding both of those are very, very different. But make no mistake, those stories are not that different. Kenny said, totally thought Eric's Heart for All Animals would have made the poachers the asshole of the day. Major upset. Amanda, I hope you're feeling better. She is dealing with COVID right now. So make sure you really sanitize those dildos. That's all I'll say. Okay, guys, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for being part of the show. Please spread the word about it. That helps. Thank you so much. We will talk to you next time. And I have the Patreon bonus podcast happening a little bit later on. Before that, though, smarter than a former drug dealer trivia. Principled, it's time to join me on Patreon. You must commit. You too can experience smarter than a former drug dealer trivia in 34 minutes. Live on Patreon. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. Until next time, folks, talk to you down the road. Bye-bye.